What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Odin coming back with another video, and today we're doing the box office breakdown for this weekend, and oh boy, things are not looking good for Godzilla 2 or Godzilla King of the Monsters. Yes, it came out #1 this weekend, but domestically it only made $49 million, which is only $7 million more than weekend #2 for the Aladdin live-action remake, which is actually making a crap ton of money, much to my chagrin, because I honestly just want these live-action movies to stop, and this is not how that happens. I'm very frustrated. Don't go see this movie. Again, there are parts of it that I like. I think that Naomi Scott is a great Jasmine. However, if you want Disney to stop making crap like this, if you want Disney to start making, or being pushed rather, to make more original content and to stay away from the sequels, stay away from the reboots of their classic animation, the only way that that can happen is if they don't make any money or potentially even lose money on projects like this. This is not how you do it. Now, of course, mainstream audiences, the normies, they don't really care about it. All they think is, oh, what movie can I do? What movie can I go see that might be entertaining? Or at least in the case of this film, oh, what is a movie that I can take my kids to that overall will not be something that they will not love or not be able to distract them for a little bit? So, of course, Aladdin's going to make a lot of money there as well, with a 53.7% drop from week 1 to week 2. So this film is actually making a decent amount of money, both here domestically and also in the foreign totals as well. Rocketman, the documentary, not the documentary, the biopic about Sir Elton John, made $25 million, which is a very respectable number, seeing that this is a film that was not made for too much. It was only made for about $40 million, and so having a $25 million opening is very good. And another new one this weekend, Ma, which only opened in not entirely every single theater out there, because again, 2,800 screens versus the 4,000 of Godzilla, so definitely not in as many screens as it could, but Ma made a respectable $18 million, seeing that it cost $5 million to make. This film has already made its money back and is making profit, and anything it makes from this point forward will be profit. I've heard some pretty good mixed things on it. I hear that Octavia Spencer is fantastic in the film. However, I hear that the film overall, just like many modern-day horror films, modern-day thriller films, falls flat, especially within the third act of the film. Now, let's break down each of these films movie by movie. So I can see here, Godzilla King of the Monsters is not doing very well. It's made $179 million total, which is much smaller than what they suspected it was going to be. I think the early projections were between $200 and $250 million for the opening weekend. It fell well short of that. The domestic numbers alone, the early projections were between 60 and 65, and it only made about 49 million. So this movie is underperforming in a lot of markets. This movie is underperforming in a lot of areas, and so could it have the potential to make its money back? Sure, but this is definitely not going to be the billion-dollar film that I first thought it was going to be. This had all the potential in the world based on the trailers, based on just the early reactions of people. The fans, obviously, who are seeing this, love it. On Rotten Tomatoes, there's a clear split of critics hating it, audiences loving it. I am one of those persons, though, where I feel like I represent more side of the, the critic normie mix, where I saw this film and I said to myself, okay, yeah, the parts with the monsters were cool. Unfortunately, that's only 25% of the film, and the other 75% of it is based on really bad, stupid human storytelling with really bad, stupid human motivations. And even though the acting might be fine, those human motivations still suck. And then you have the people over there who are gatekeeping this, saying, well, then you're not a true Godzilla fan if you don't like this film because of all the throwbacks, all the references. You just don't understand. Okay, instead of being snobbish like that, how about instead you just know your role, shut your mouth, and understand that this film has bad human storylines within it, and it does not matter if that is not a part of the story or that's not supposed to be the important part of the story, because when 75% of the film is dealing with those stories and I'm having to listen to and watch that 75% of the time, guess what? It doesn't matter how awesome the 25% on-screen action is going to be, which even then, sometimes the animation looks great, sometimes it just looks like CGI mess. It does not matter how great that's going to look. It's not going to be able to make up for the rest of the overall story being bogged down by just really, really bad storytelling from the writer's perspective. Now, again, you can go ahead and hate me and hate this video all you want because of that opinion. I just like to spit the truth here. That is an objective reality. This film is extremely flawed from an objective level when it comes to its screenwriting. And even though the effects are fine, even though the acting is fine, it cannot make up for that being weighted down. And for anyone that tries to say, well, it's supposed to be about the monsters anyway, okay, fine. If you're just going to rate 25% of a movie, good luck with that. when you're looking at a movie and you're ranking a film and you're rating a movie, you gotta rate it 100%. And if 75% of it is made up of really crappy human storylines, I'm sorry, it's gonna bring the overall down score. And this is the reason why I honestly think this film's not gonna do well, is because the word of mouth has been okay amongst hardcore fans. You're seeing those high scores among audiences, but I think in reality, most normal people that are not going to be going onto websites posting their reviews, people who are kind of like in the middle like I am saying, nah, I mean, it's fine, it's just not the greatest thing ever, are going to be what's holding this film back from making as much as it could be. So again, this is a film that had all the potential in the world to make $1 billion. All it needed to do was to find a good balance, to find a at least half decent story for the humans to be doing in the background, but instead the human drama and the human story not only takes up way too much screen presence and way too much screen time, but also weighs it down in the process. And again, monsters are cool. However, when only 25% of the film or so is made up of the monsters, it's not going to be good enough. So this film is going to be lucky to even get close to the $500-600 million mark, let alone $1 billion, which is what I first thought that this film had the potential to make, because it did have that potentiality. But based on that $170 million budget, this is a film that is going to barely break even, I would say, at worst, and make a little bit profit at best. Different side of the story with Aladdin, though. This is a film that I thought was not going to do well because the opening weekend was good, but honestly, based off of both audience and critic reaction, it just didn't seem like it was going to be the type of film that was going to be able to sell a whole lot. But for some reason, it's doing well domestically and doing well enough in the foreign market to get up to around $445 million, meaning that this film is making money. This film is already at the point of profitability, which is something I did not think would be possible this early out of the gate, seeing that this is not a very great film. This is an entirely unnecessary film. Go watch the 90s animation if you want to see this story played out, because this is unnecessary. The only good thing, as I said before, is Naomi Scott's Princess Jasmine, because she is fantastic in it. The song she sings, Speechless, is great. The actual full song she sings towards the end of the movie is breathtaking. It's awesome, but it cannot make up for all of the just really crappy stuff happening in between, with really shoddy editing, really bad performances from the person who, at least from the person that plays Jafar, and then a very wooden and very just static performance from the young man, was it Mena Massoud, who played Aladdin. And again, Will Smith tries as the genie, but he's trying, and he's just being Will Smith on screen, and so it really is just totally unnecessary. But again, $445 million for this film. This just means that, get ready, strap in, folks, because we're going to continue to get the same live-action, really crappy live-action remakes of every single classic film that we've ever loved, because people keep buying tickets, because normies keep buying tickets to these films. And this is the reason. This is the problem. You are the problem if you are actually paying a ticket to go see this movie instead of doing what I do and allegedly buying a ticket to something else and then going to see it. Rocketman, burning out on everyone. Domestically, $25 million, foreign, $31 million, $56.2 million opening worldwide. For a production budget of $40 million, this is a film that not a lot of people not a whole lot of people are going to see. This is going to be a very low intake film. It's not going to make a crap ton of money, but because of that low budget, it's going to end up making the money that it needs to in order to be able to justify its existence. Many people are going to be comparing this film to another biopic that happened. That, of course, would be Bohemian Rhapsody, and I hear that it is about as same as far as quality goes as being a good film. And so this is a film that I know I personally would like to see, knowing how well it's being received by a lot of people. Also, Taron Egerton overall is a pretty great actor in my opinion, and so I would not mind seeing him in it. And you know what? I'm okay watching a biopic about this man over here. Now, the big question of the day, is Endgame going to actually beat the record set by Avatar before adjusting for inflation? I still think it's possible. It's now reached the $2.7 billion mark. All right, so it's now in the $2.7 billion mark, meaning that it's need to make, what, $70 million? Less than $70 million it needs to make. And the reason why I think it's going to make that money is not just because I think that it's going to be out in theaters long enough to be able to slowly, drip by drip by drip, get to that number, but because honestly, Disney is going to look at this and say, we want that record. We want this film to be the highest grossing film of all time, because when this comes out on Blu-ray and 4K, etc., they're going to want to be able to say the highest grossing film of all time. And they're going to do that by doing something. They're going to re-release it. They're going to, let it go through its natural run and then do a re-release at the very end, right before the Blu-ray comes out, to try and get that extra bit of money in. They're going to offer they're going to offer something. Like, they're going to do something to break that point. It's going to get there. I really honestly believe that. And they're going to do something. If they can't get to it naturally, they're going to do something as far as a re-release or something to get to that point, because at this point it's at the $2.7 billion range. In order for it to beat Avatar, was able to crap out at what, 2.78 billion or so. And let me just make sure I'm able to give you guys an accurate reading on that. So we're at 2.71 at this current time, 2.71 for the total for that film. This film, so 2.71 versus 2.78. So again, roughly around $70 million is all that the film needs to make left. Now, it's only making about maybe 10 to 15, 20 million overall every week up to this point, and it's going to keep making less and less and less. But as I said, sometimes what these studios will do is they will do a re-release in some way, and that's how they push out that extra money. This film is going to probably top out around, $830 million domestically, probably top out foreign market close to the $2 billion mark, which I think is what's going to give it the final edge that it needs in order to finally beat Avatar and be the #1 film at the box office. But guys, what are y'all's thoughts? Do you think Avengers Endgame is going to get there? I really do think it's going to get there. Rocketman, have you seen it? Are you excited about it? Again, it's a film that most people are probably going to be like, meh, I have no real interest in seeing this, because if I want to see a real life story, I'd rather just see the actual person himself, and I understand that. Aladdin, it's making money. It's actually profitable. I don't know how, but somehow it's profitable, and I have to thank nothing but the normies and the families bringing their people and their kids and buying all the tickets to this nonsense for making this film be what's probably going to end up being close to $600-700 million film, which is just ridiculous for a remake of a damn film, which again is nowhere close to the original. And Godzilla King of the Monsters, are you kind of upset that this film is not going to be the big moneymaker that many people thought it was going to be? Does that mean that it's not going to make anything necessarily? No, I wouldn't say that, but I definitely do think that this is not a number that they wanted to see. This is coming in well under expectations. We obviously don't have all of the numbers in quite yet. Don't ever look at this number right here, because remember that this is saying, oh, well, this doesn't add up, so obviously this number's wrong. Remember that the individual breakdowns don't usually come out until a little bit later, but this is the most accurate number that we have as of today, with 130 million coming in from the foreign market. Now, again, could still make more, could still do well. The legs on this film, for all I know, could be great. I just don't think it's going to have the legs to hold strong, though, because, as I said, even though the monsters are cool and the effects are cool, the story is not very good, and that is what's going to weigh this down. And even with a high audience rating, it's not going to be enough to get the casual moviegoer, kind of like me, who said, it's okay, you might want to see it for $5, but I wouldn't go out of your way to see it right away. I think that's what's going to keep the film down in the very end. But let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comments below. Also, if you want more content like this, go check me out over at Odin's Movie Blog, because you know that YouTube probably has either unsubbed you from my channel already, or is blocking my channel from you being seen, because, that's just what YouTube does, especially since YouTube is down as of this video being made, and it would really help me out a lot, because YouTube has just been really screwing me and many other YouTubers over lately with all their algorithmic changes, and also just unsubbing people, not notifying people of all these other things. So please, help me out if you can. Would really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.